In today's world, what does a business want? It wants to deliver high quality software to the end user in the shortest possible frame of time. There was a preconceived notion in the industry that quality is inversely proportional to speed. Right? So if we want to focus too much on quality, we have to reduce our speed, and vice versa. If we want to go faster, then we have to make some trade-off on quality, right? The secret sauce is you have to know when to stop. What we call as manual testing, it requires some form of human intelligence or human touch or some form of observational qualities. You need to solve different type of questions. You need to understand the algorithm working behind those questions. You need to have multiple solutions for the same problem. Gaming is a sunrise sector. There are not many previous examples or success stories that we get from the industry. So we have to innovate and we have to see what's working and what's not very dynamically, right?
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Tech Baat Cheet. And today we are going to talk about a relatively less talked about topic, software testing, and yet very, very important topic. So we have the right person to talk about this, Sahil Puri. He has 11 years of experience in software testing. He is currently engineering manager at Zupee, and he has worked as a software tester in different companies like Google, Adobe, and Samsung. So hi Sahil, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, sir.
Thanks, Sahil. I'm good. So Sahil, I would like you to first introduce yourself, your career journey to the audience.
So I'm Sahil. I have 11 years of experience in software testing industry. I started my professional journey with Samsung Electronics in 2013. And since then have been fortunate enough to get some really great experiences from all the companies and startups that I've worked with. All in all, I just have a passion for software testing field, and you can say I'm in love with this field because it helps me to deliver value to the end customer and make a very visible impact to the entire SDLC process. So all in all, I have been just enjoying every bit of my experience till now and hoping to make greater impact in the future.
So tell us more about your career. Like when did you finish your engineering? And then you told us that your first company was Samsung. And then where did you work after that? And how has been your experience in Zupee? Like how did you see your career growth there and what worked for you there?
Sure. So education-wise, I completed my BTech from IP University, and then I completed my Masters in Technology from Delhi Technological University. So started my journey with Samsung Electronics. To be very honest, at that point, ज़्यादा idea नहीं था कि what software testing really is, right? ये ज़रूर idea था कि we are entering into a software world, right? But as and when the time passed by, slowly and steadily we got a fair idea of what impact are we making through this field and what does the role expect us, right? And then slowly over the last 10 years, you see the software testing has really evolved. The role has evolved, right? So I've been fortunate enough to be a part of that evolution in the last 10 to 12 years. While I was working with Samsung, we used to work with North American telecom partners, right? Where we really learned about delivering high value to the end customer with high customization and within the timelines. So those were the best learnings that I took from the first phase of my career. Also, during the first 7 years, I got an opportunity to work with Adobe systems and Google, where I learned about such a large machinery working so smoothly. I contributed to the CI/CD systems, to unit and integration test, and there the major learning was, again, how the systems are built at scale and how the maintenance happens so smoothly, right, for all the builds that are just being delivered and shipped to the user almost every minute, right? And then what started is like what I call as a phase 2 of my career when I started working with startups, right? It was a different experience altogether. Maybe we can talk more about in the coming few minutes. So right now at Zupee, I'm working as an engineering manager for SDET team. We are focusing to building high quality solutions and tooling, which would help the engineering productivity as well as the software quality, thereby enhancing the end user experience for the entire organization.
All right, so I mean, great to meet a person who has cracked so many big company interviews, and it's not easy to crack them. I mean, there are long interview processes. I'll talk about them later because a lot of people want to go to these companies because that's why you see a lot of content on YouTube and on websites being consumed about how to crack these interviews. So you are definitely the right person. But before I talk about those things, I would like you to tell us more about software testing profile. What is the day-to-day life like, and how much software testing impacts the business? How important software testing role is for the business?
Sure. Very important question. So I feel software tester is any engineer who enables all other stakeholders, including product, business, developer, designers, etc., to deliver high value proposition and high quality software to the end user. Right? Now, this enablement can be in the form of end user, end product testing, test and process automation, process enhancements, collaborating with each of these stakeholders to build quality guardrails, release engineering, release management, etc. Now, in today's world, if you see, what does a business want? It wants to deliver high quality software to the end user in the shortest possible frame of time, right? And this is where I feel software testing role plays a central character or a central role in today's industry, right? So ultimately, in a good product company, a software tester would have as much influence outside the QA phase as it has within the QA phase, right? So it would collaborate with all the different stakeholders to ensure that there are enough quality guardrails at the end of each SDLC phase, including requirement analysis, designing, development, QA, post-launch, right, till the end of life of that particular feature. So all in all, ensuring the quality guardrails help in benchmarking the quality of deliverables at the end of each of these phases, and therefore it leads to high impact on user growth, user retention, user experience, and at the end of the day, this is what a business really wants. So that's why I always say that this role is slowly becoming the central limelight for any top leadership or any business.
See, you talked about the quality, right? I also worked as a software engineer in a company, and that is where I got this feedback that you focus a lot on the efficiency of the code. You need to maintain the right balance, and you need to basically deliver fast also. That's the business requires. So as per your understanding, what is more important, quality versus the speed at which you deliver the product? And does it basically impact that you are doing too much testing? It might impact the release and all. Yeah. So how do you see it as a business at this particular role? I totally understand, being a software tester, you say that software quality has to be there, right? But how do you maintain the right balance that we are not testing unnecessary things, what not to test and what to test?
Yeah. So I would say that 7 to 8 years back, there was a preconceived notion in the industry that quality is inversely proportional to speed, right? So if we want to focus too much on quality, we have to reduce our speed, and vice versa. If we want to go faster, then we have to make some trade-off on quality, right? But with increasing user awareness, increasing competition across the industry, and more and more user experience stories coming in, the speed and quality have now become friends. Like, they have to go hand in hand. There is no choice between quality and speed. And this is what really impacts a successful business. This is what really makes a successful business story. If the business is able to deliver high quality with high speed products, right? And you very well said, sir, ki we have to focus on such tooling and solutions which enables us to prioritize what to test and enables us to deprioritize what not to test, right? So it's a fact that testing is an infinite activity, right? You can just keep going on and there is no end, because it is said that it is very easy to prove the presence of bugs, but it is not so easy to prove the absence of bugs, right? So the secret sauce is you have to know when to stop testing, right? And when to go to the market and depend on the user feedback, right?
So how do you decide that? How do you maintain the balance?
Okay. So 2 or 3 factors that help me and my team decide when exactly to stop or what to test and what not to test is, number 1, being very close to the end user, understanding how my user is actually using my product, and second, what is the value proposition of any feature that I'm launching? What is the business metric that I'm aiming with the new feature, right? And third is, what are the technical changes? What are the architecture changes that are going on with this particular release or with this particular feature? Those three major areas, being close to the customer and having a good product sense and having a good technical and architecture sense of your product, would help me and my team to decide what exactly to focus on, what to test, and when are we confident to then ship the product at the right time, meeting the go-to-market goals.
I think that's a very good answer. You should have an understanding basically about the customer, about the architecture. Then only you can decide when to stop and when to continue. That's a very well answer. Now, coming to this tools thing that you mentioned, right? So whenever I see software testing roles, I sometimes see manual testing, and these days a lot of automated testing, right? So, and the tools that they use. So if I want to be a good software tester, or I want to switch my job, first of all, I would like you to define the difference between manual testing and software testing, and then tell me about the tools that I should study to be a successful software tester, the tools that you use in your day-to-day life or you have used in the past.
Sure. So in the industry, we divide testing into two major categories, right? As you said, manual and automation, right? So first of all, we need to understand that these two testing types, they go hand in hand, right? No one can be just an automation engineer, or no one can be just a manual test engineer, right? So you have to play both roles even in a single day of your professional career, right? So how these categories are divided is, there are some validations which are deterministic. So you have a clear expected output, and then you match or compare it with the actual output, and then you decide if a test case has failed or passed. These validations are very easily automatable, or you can say they are the best candidates for automation, right? So this is what is automation testing, where we automate the entire journey and then compare the actual output with the expected output, right? On the other hand, what we call as manual testing, it requires some form of human intelligence or human touch, or some form of observational qualities, where you have to interact with the product and understand the best user experience that you have to provide, right? Now, coming on the tooling part, say there is again a misconception that manual testing does not require any tool. It's a wrong preconceived notion. There are many tools, like you can say, starting with how you would take logs while you are doing exploratory testing, right? So there are some logging tools. Then how would you understand and take the network call? So there are some proxy tools like Charles, Burp Suite, right? And then you also have to have a very core knowledge about what is happening behind the scenes, behind the UI, right? So you have to learn how to take server logs. You have to have enough knowledge about the cloud architecture that your company is using, maybe AWS or GCP. So you have to be proficient in all these tools if you want to become a good exploratory/manual tester, right? For automation, you should cover the breadth. So there's a tool for web UI testing. You can start with Java and Selenium. There's a tool for mobile UI testing for Android and iOS. You can start with Java and APM. There's a tool for backend API automation. You can start with Java and rest assured. But the secret is, you don't have to stick to a particular tool or a particular language. You have to understand the concept of how are we automating a particular tech stack or a particular user journey. Then it becomes very easy for you to change the language or change the tool on demand basis, right? So all in all, both these categories go hand in hand, and there's a plethora of tooling that you need to learn. But I would say start with these tools that I mentioned, then you will yourself understand how to proceed.
All right. I have seen you being very active on Medium. I saw some videos where you talk about software testing, your experience at other places as well. So you seem to be having like very good knowledge about this thing, and you seem to be very vocal about software testing. So I mean, and after listening to you, a lot of people would be interested in software testing. They would want to build their career, especially the freshers or the people who are probably working in some company. They want to switch to a bigger company like you have worked with. So they want to upskill themselves and want to apply software testing there. So I would like you to cover the fresher roles first. You have been talking about tips and tools to crack the interviews. So if I'm a fresher and if I'm looking for an SDET role in a software company, then what are the things that you would recommend me to prepare?
Sure. So, like among the top 4 skills that would be asked in the interview for any fresher, or you can say 0 to 3 years of experience, they cover 2 or 3 major skills. Like, so first would be your logical ability or problem solving skills, right? So it is normally checked using a coding question. For an SDET role, it spans anywhere from an easy to medium question, but you need to study the data structures, algorithms, and be very consistent with your practice. So this is the first skill that would be asked. The second would be your knowledge around software testing. It's different levels of testing, different types of testing, different categories of black box, white box testing, and so on. Along with that, your past experience or maybe knowledge about working in an agile environment, in an agile SDLC model. So this is the second category. The third would be your knowledge around a very basic system design. As I told, how things work behind the UI. So you should be well versed with a microservice architecture, with databases, some form of cache layers, and then how do servers communicate with each other, and how does the server communicate with the client, and so on. And last, communication plays a very important role in any SDT job as well as interview. So I always say the 4 C's. You have to be very crisp, clear, and concise with your communication during the interview rounds, right? And if you package the above 3 skills with a good communication, you are surely bound to get some brownie points on the overall score. So it's this strategy is a very generic strategy, but we can add or reduce some points based on the company that you're applying for, or based on the job role and the years of experience.
That's true, actually, because a lot of things vary company to company, interviewer to interviewer, and you don't have any universal rule. But whatever you said, I mean, those 4 C's make a lot of sense. Even with all the experience that I have, I mean, I've seen these things very, very much useful for the people. Now, so we talked about fresher interviews. Is there anything additional or anything that you would like to modify when you talk about working professionally? See, I'm working in a company where my salary is say 3-4 lakh per annum, or around 5-6 lakh per annum. But I want to switch to a better role. I know that I have that caliber that I can crack those interviews. Yeah. So what should I do, and how do I prepare for cracking those interviews?
Sure. So first thing that I find missing and I want to focus on is the mindset that you want to package yourself as an overall SDET, which covers both the automation and the manual part, right? So some people do this mistake where they just want to go after the automation jobs, and that's where the industry they don't succeed, might be, or they quit midway, right? So the idea is to learn and be very vocal about your interest in both these fields first. Second is, again, the product and project that you have worked with. You have to know the internal architecture. You are expected to know about the internal workings, internal architecture, and what was the business impact of that particular project or the feature that you were working on. So you will be judged on your overall product sense and the technical sense of the past projects that you have done. That is an additional point for any
and those points are still valid that you talked about freshers. So
those points are still valid, and this is the extra that you are expected now. And then based on years of experience, say suppose you are at a staff software test engineer or at a lead level having 8 to 10 years of experience, or anywhere 6+ experience, then system design, specifically the high level design of the entire microservice architecture, it is playing a big role right now for any interview that you give to small to mid size startups.
I think that helps a lot, because there is a myth, right? If you want to do software testing, you might not need problem solving in DSA. As you said in the fresher, this is asked, and might be asked even to the experienced person.
Sure.
Even the system design knowledge is required, right, for the experienced people. I think that would help a lot of people to understand more about the domain, and those who want to upskill and grow. That would be very helpful. Now, coming to the hot topic of these days, which is AI, right? I mean, what do you think AI, the impact of AI is going to be on the software testing? Because every field person wants to evaluate how this is going to impact my job role. Is it going to impact my job at all?
Yeah. Like, again, a great question, because I have seen many software testers in the industry who are feeling anxious about this artificial intelligence and the advent and the rumors that are there in the industry that it might eat my job, right? So, first of all, I want to say that these technologies like AI, they come for the good, right? There is no point in getting intimidated or having a repulsion or fear from these technologies, right? I would say be very open and accept these technologies with open arms. Learn about them and learn how you can use them to complement your own productivity and your own efficiency, right? So in a day, if I would be doing some redundant work that even automation is not able to currently help me, right? I would use AI to solve those gaps for me that would make my productivity enhanced, right? And that would allow me some time to spend either on my personal self or on greater impact professional areas, right? So all in all, AI is something that is there to help us, to make us step up to the next level, and it's like a service that is provided to us to help doing our redundant chores and so that we can focus on high impact areas. Currently in software testing, the AI is focusing on majorly low code, no code automation, but over the next 2 to 4 years, I see a very high probability of innovation in areas like test planning, risk-based test strategies, automation and test reporting, and then how we can align our test methodologies very close to how user is using my product. So this is where I see AI growing in the next few.
As you said, I completely agree. It's just a productivity booster in every field, whether it is testing or development or any field that you are in. You just need to use it as a tool. I mean, and don't think like this is going to take away my job. You need to learn how to use it efficiently in your product and your job. So now coming to your interviews, I mean, I said in the beginning, right, you cracked all the big tech giants, right, and you long experience. So tell us more about what worked for you in cracking those big interviews, and any particular experience that you would like to share with the audience about the interviews of Samsung, Google, or Adobe, or Zupee interview, any of those interviews that can help the audience to learn that what to do and what not to do in those interviews.
Sure. Like, first of all, thank you so much. I'm humbled, but I have been fortunate enough to be a part of these organizations, and today I can share those experiences and help other candidates to crack those interviews, right? So first of all, there is no secret sauce, or there is no hidden secret tablet that you can take and all things would work for you or me. I feel that the thing that worked for me is a lot of persistence and a lot of consistent practice, right? So it took me around 6 to 8 months to clear my fundamentals around logical ability, coding, data structures, and algorithms. And once those 6 months, that was the hard period. Once that passed by, it became a daily ritual for me to solve at least a couple of complex coding questions during the day. And then it became relatively easier for me, right? So I would say the first important thing is you have to find the right mentor for you, right? Who can guide you, keep you motivated. Like, you can be easily overwhelmed during this journey. So having the right mentor really sets the tone and really helps you to keep going on and on, even in difficult times, right? Second, you have to understand that it's like training your mind. We go to the gym to train our body, and that also requires some consistency over a period of 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Similarly, in order to train our mind, we need to be very consistent in solving those coding questions on a specific platform along with a mentor for few weeks and months until our mind is trained in such a way that it automatically starts giving you hints whenever you see a new question. So I always compare it with how we used to crack mathematics exams in our 10th or 12th boards, right? You need a lot of practice. You need to solve different type of questions. You need to understand the algorithm working behind those questions. You need to have multiple solutions for the same problem and then brainstorm about time complexity and space complexity trade-offs for those particular questions. And that's how your mind will be trained. And this is what I believe helped me through that journey to crack interviews of those organizations.
Any particular incident like that you remember about cracking those interviews that you felt like that worked for me?
Yeah, definitely. I can tell you an instance of a Google interview. It was the second round, and suddenly the interviewer gave me a question which I had not seen in the past. It was a fairly new category for me, and I knew that I had 40 minutes. So it was very natural for me to feel nervous, a little bit anxious. But what helped me in that round was the knowledge about the overall scoring scheme in a coding round. That's what I learned from that round, and I always keep saying to all the mentees or every candidate that I meet that you have to understand the scoring of how the interviewer is judging you in the next 40 minutes. So to my surprise, I was not able to reach the right answer, or I was not able to solve the entire problem in those 40 minutes. But the approach that I took, or the stepwise score that I was able to focus on, really helped me to pass that round in spite of the fact that I was not able to solve that particular question, right? And for the 2 days that I didn't listen, didn't hear back from the HR, I really thought that I would be rejected by now. But to my surprise, I was promoted to the next round. So all in all, the learning was in those 40 minutes, there are multiple aspects that you can score on. And reaching to the final result or the final solution is just 10% of the entire score that you can get out of the entire round.
Okay, great, Sahil. I think that is going to definitely help a lot of people, those who get nervous during the interviews, because many times, I mean, DS is such an ocean, and many times it might happen that you've never seen this question, you have no idea, and people get nervous. That's very, very common, and the way you answered it, it's going to help a lot of people. So now coming to your current company and like you work, so tell us more about the Zupee work, the gaming industry, what tools and technologies you guys use, and what is happening in the gaming industry. And if I want to enter into Zupee or a company which is gaming-based company, what are the tools and things that I should do to get into those companies?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to clear for the audience what exactly is real money gaming and what is skill-based gaming before that, right? So skill-based gaming is a segment of the gaming industry where the outcome of any gameplay is predominantly, determined by the player's skill or his or her ability to strategize rather than luck or by chance. So Zupee is currently a real money gaming company which focuses on dice-based games. So we provide different flavors of Ludo, Snakes and Ladders, and some seasonality games like cricket cards and many more such interesting games in the pipeline, right? And then when we add the real money factor to it, it becomes all the way more interesting, not only from the product side, but also from the technical side, right? So the complexity in the tech was one of the major factors why I also decided to start working with Zupee 3 years back. And since then, it has been an amazing ride. There have been so many learnings and so many tech and automation work that we have been doing, which is by far helping us to learn and grow. Since gaming is a sunrise sector, there are not many previous examples or success stories that we get from the industry. So we have to innovate and we have to see what's working and what's not very dynamically, right? So giving you an example, in any gaming or in a multiplayer gaming, there's a lot of real-time communication happening between client and server. Now, when you add the money factor into it, it becomes all the way more critical. So, the backend uses underlying protocols such as REST API or WebSocket, right, from the tech side. Now, from the automation perspective for an SDET, the testability and the controllability of this real-time communication becomes a very interesting challenge to solve, right? And that's what, in Zupee, for instance, we have been able to build our test and automation infrastructure in the last 2 years. And, I feel on the front-end side, technologies like Unity, GDevelop, Construct, they are some great tools in which you don't need to have very high coding on programming skills, but you can easily make your 2D and 3D animations or game engines. And since it's a sunrise sector, there has been a lot of innovation going on in this space, especially when it comes to tech and automation. And I feel it's going to continue.
All right, great, Sahil. I really enjoyed talking to you, and it was a great answer. And I think the things that you told here, they are going to help a lot of people. Any final message that you would like to give the audience?
Yeah, like I believe that the role of software testing in SDET has evolved over the last 5 to 7 years. It's one of the central role. It's in the limelight of the entire business. And the trends have not only changed for this role, but in fact, they have reversed for the good. So there's a lot of scope in this field if you play your cards right. If you're a skilled software tester, there is a lot of demand in the industry. And there are some good mentors, waiting for you to guide and upskill. So all the best.
And can people take advice from you on LinkedIn? Can they connect on?
Definitely. I'm available majorly on weekends. So all the queries are most welcome.
All right. Thanks, Sahil. So thank you guys for listening to this. And you can connect with Sahil on LinkedIn to get more ideas. And I strongly believe that this podcast must have helped you a lot. So please do like and share this video and subscribe to the channel.